You may be familiar with the Redshift ShockStop stem. Now there's a Redshift ShockStop seat post. Tricky to say, smooth to ride. Here to explain this to us is Stephen Arnott. What is going on with this seat post design?
So we designed the ShockStop seat post to complement our ShockStop stem that we launched a couple years ago. Basically, it's a short travel suspension seat post. Lets you ride over rough terrain much more smoothly and comfortably. Lets you ride further and faster on the bike you already own. So basically, it's a short travel suspension seat post, has 35 millimeters of vertical travel. It's a linkage-based design, so this saddle doesn't tip as the suspension compresses, but it provides really meaningful suspension travel in a package that's, svelte, sleek, matches the aesthetic of modern bicycles, and doesn't scream that it's a suspension seat post, basically.
So the saddle doesn't tilt at an angle as it's compressing and rebounding.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's a 4-bar linkage design, as the suspension compresses, the saddle stays level, basically.
Does it need to be adjusted for rider weight or where you're riding? And if so, how does that work?
Yeah, so one of the really nice features of the post is that you can swap out this internal coil spring for 3 different weights, but you can also adjust spring preload at the bottom of the post. So basically, you can adjust both the stiffness of the spring and the spring preload to let you dial in the feel to match your riding preferences exactly. The preload of the stem is adjustable, but it doesn't affect the suspension travel. So with some suspension designs, when you adjust preload, you're actually screwing down the suspension travel, so you're reducing travel as you increase preload. With our seat posts, you adjust the preload from the bottom, you screw the spring upward, and basically it means that the full range of suspension travel is available regardless of the preload setting.
While still working as a 27.2 post, so on most frames out there, right?
Exactly, 27.2 millimeter, 350 millimeter long, and you can shim it to fit other larger seat post sizes.
Something similar but different. Explain how the ShockStop stem works.
So the ShockStop stem is a short travel suspension stem, and a lot of your readers may remember the suspension stems of the late 80s, early 90s. This is similar in function, but improved in every way. So basically we, took 30 years of suspension pivot design experience since then and built a bomb-proof suspension pivot that uses full complement Enduro brand bearings. It's never going to develop play. It's super torsionally rigid. One of the other big differences is that those suspension stems were really trying to cater to a mountain biking market. And we feel that suspension stems are not a great fit for mountain bikes, but they're a really, really good fit for short travel bikes like gravel bikes, commuter, road, e-bikes, because you can have 10 to 20 millimeters of suspension travel, which is what the ShockStop provides, and that is super effective at muting out the kinds of bumps and impacts that you find in that kind of riding. We built a stem that has all the suspension elements internalized. Again, it's something that you can put on your bike and you're not going to notice unless you're looking for it. But at the same time, you can adjust it to your weight and your riding style by swapping out 2 internal elastomers. So the stem comes with 5 different elastomers, and basically the combination that you choose, the durometer or hardness of the elastomers, lets you fine-tune the activity of the suspension basically to match your riding style and your weight.
And similar to the 27.2 post that goes with most frames, this is 1.1 inch.
That's correct. So 1.1 inch steer tube, 31.8 millimeter handlebar. You can shim it to different handlebar sizes, and it's available in plus or minus 6 degree in 4 different lengths, so 90 millimeter, 100, 110, and 120. We also make a high-rise version, which is a plus 30 degree in 100 millimeter length.
If folks want to learn more, where do they go?
To learn more, they can go to www.redshiftsports.com, and there's actually an active Kickstarter campaign running for the seat post right now, so they can check that out on kickstarter.com.
All right, great. And where do you expect price to end up after the Kickstarter campaign?
So the MSRP for the post is going to be $199. Right now, during the Kickstarter, people can pre-order it for as low as $129, so it's a pretty substantial savings. And expected availability for the seat post is November of 2018.
Good stuff. Thanks, sir.